everybody, welcome to the Waldock Way. I'm Jessica, and today's video is going to be resources to help your anxious kiddo. So let's be honest, we are literally living through a time of uncertainty, and we are probably all a little on edge. But if you have a kiddo who is already suffering from anxiety, they are probably having a very difficult time right now. So I thought I would take this time to share with you some of my top resources. Before I get started, I want to go ahead and let you know that I am by no means an expert on anxiety. In fact, the only thing I really know about it is that I suffer from it. And in our case, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and so does Emily. So what I'm going to be showing you today is my top handful of resources, the things that work best for us, but please know that they may not also work for you, and you're going to just kind of have to try out because you know your kid better than anybody else. The number one resource that I think everybody should have is a support system. You literally need somebody to just tell you that they understand, they've been through it, they get what you're going through, you're doing a great job, and it's okay. I have a huge support system. I have a group of amazing friends who most of them are also raising anxious kiddos or kiddos that have some special needs, and it's really, really great to just know that you're not alone. Like, that in itself is probably one of the most invaluable resources that you can have when you are raising an anxious kiddo, and that's for you and for your kiddos, because they too need to know that they're not alone. So if you also suffer from anxiety, tell them that they're not alone, that you have issues too. That is just as invaluable for them as it is for you. So I do want to extend this in this video. If you are either an anxious mama or you're a mama raising an anxious kiddo and you don't have a support system, please feel free to reach out to me, because nobody should be going through it alone. And while I don't know it all, I would be more than happy to hold your hand through it. My next top resource would be the book Make Your Worrier a Warrior, a guide to helping your child conquer their fears by Dan Peters. This is one of those books that you, the parent, are going to read. I'm actually on my third time going through this. I really recommend this being one that you own versus getting from the library. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's one you're going to find yourself revisiting often. Like I said, this is my third time through it. I find more valuable information every time I've gone through it, so I really do think it's beneficial to own it. It's one that you, the parent, are going to read, and at the end of each chapter there is kind of like a to-do list, like a things to do. I'm going to give you an example of the first chapter so you have an idea. It's one of those where you're going to read it and then you're going to take those things back to your kid. So it's one that, as an anxious mama raising an anxious kiddo, it has helped me and her, and I think that is really awesome. So the first chapter is called Who is the Worry Monster? So you read all about the worry monster, and then things to remember for you. Children do not like feeling worried and scared. The worry monster is a bully. The worry and fear, the worry monster, is not part of them. You are going to help your child drive the worry monster away. So it's kind of got like things to remember to reassure yourself. And then things for you to do. Tell your child about the worry monster. Tell them that he is a mythical creature who tries to make us feel worried and scared. Offer hope that you and your child will be able to do things that make the worry monster go away. Show your child a picture of the goofy worry monster, or ask your child to make a drawing of the worry monster. So here's a picture that you can show your child of the worry monster, or you can have your child draw the worry monster. Now I'm showing you guys this with permission. This is Tyler. This is Emily's worry monster. He lives in a cage. This is what he looks like, and this is Emily conquering him. Now I want to tell you, I know that that looks like probably a very silly drawing to you guys, but that drawing changed so much in our household. Like, it really, really did. It gave Emily a way to express that it's not her. It gave her somebody to, you know, kind of blame. It made it not be, you know, part of her. It made it not be her issue. And it also gave us a way to communicate. So shoes are a huge thing in our household. That may just be our thing, but pretty much every time we have to put shoes on our feet, it becomes a meltdown. And now, instead of saying something that I would used to end up saying and be very unproud of, like, your shoes are fine, it's in your head, let's just put them on and get out of here. And I suffer from anxiety, so I know that that is literally the least productive thing you can say to somebody who's anxious. But it didn't change the fact that that's normally where we ended up. Now I can say something more along the lines of, you know, your shoes feel fine to me. They don't seem too tight or too big. I think it might be Tyler causing them to feel however, you know, she says they're feeling that day. What can I do to help you put him back in the cage? So it was a very, very productive and enlightening experience. Activity, and pretty much every chapter has something to that extent. So this is by far my top resource. I think if you are raising a kiddo who has some sort of worry, this is definitely a book you need to own. The next resource I have for you guys is a brand new one, but it does not surprise me that they're amazing because pretty much everything she releases is, and that is the Anxiety Toolkit. So these are, this is a deck of cards from Colleen Kessler. And Colleen Kessler and herself is an amazing resource. Her blog, her podcast, she talks at conventions. Every talk I've heard her do has been absolutely amazing. So if you ever get the chance to hear her, definitely take that opportunity. But the Anxiety Toolkit includes 96 ways to help your child calm their worries. And what's really great about them is they are organized into categories. So for instance, you have taming anxiety at home, more involved ideas for when you're at home, managing worry while out and about, quick things to do when out in public, calming fears before bedtime, help your child fall asleep worry-free, and mindfulness strategies, ideas to help your child learn to self-regulate. And then you can see here they're separated kind of by color. So this is the color of Taming Anxiety at Home, and then each card that goes along with that has kind of that color and that symbol up at the top. So it makes it very easy. For instance, if you're at home and you know that you're having an anxious moment and you need to do something, you can just quickly flip to one. And for instance here, I flipped to keep a gratitude jar. And then she tells you everything about keeping a gratitude jar. So it just kind of gives you some ideas, some tips and tricks. And like I said, there's 96 of them. So there is plenty for you to do. So I highly recommend these. And the other thing I highly recommend is keeping something on hand to distract your child. Distraction is literally one of your top tools. And for us, distraction includes a lot of fidgety type things because Emily tends to pick her fingernails when she's anxious. Luckily, the Anxiety Toolkit from Colleen Kessler, when these cards came in, when you order them, you also get a few little fidgety type of toys, so you will have a few if you get that kit. We also like things like fidget spinners. We have multiples of those. This is a Fidget Cube that is really cool. Each side has a different thing on it. Aaron's Thinking Putty is one that we really like. We have the small ones and the big ones, different colors, different scents. And another thing I really like are quick games like Spot It and Blink. Ones that don't take a whole lot of thinking. Obviously for us, since math isn't our strong subject, I don't want her doing like times tables. I want her doing something like, you know, matching pictures, just enough to distract her and get her off of whatever is causing her anxiety onto something else. So those are my top resources if you have a kid who either suffers from anxiety or is just anxious through a very uncertain time. You need a really awesome support system. Make Your Warrior book, the brand new Anxiety Toolkit cards from Colleen Kessler, and a few things to help distract your child when they get anxious.